Welcome to Swimming with Sepsi, where we break down various life topics, bring on inspirational guests to talk about their lives, their experiences, and encourage you to swim through your own inner thoughts, emotions, and feelings to inspire a change within you that will hopefully lead to an outer change in your own personal reality. I ask that throughout this episode and all future episodes that you come with an open mind, an open heart, and a willingness to look at yourself in a different way and to look at the world in a different way. I'm grateful for each and every one of you that's tuned in this current moment, and I look forward to sharing many more moments with you. And with that, let's dive on in.
Hey. I think I was a little behind on that one.
Really?
I think so. I think I saw
love the clap.
I was
think
delayed.
Were you delayed? I thought I was delayed.
One of us was.
Anyways, welcome to Soully Living Podcast. Those remember, we had a fun little name change, keep everything cohesive. With your host, me, Joshua Sepsi. Yeah. Whoop, whoop. And your co-host, sitting next to me, my left-hand woman, Nicki Tamacheski. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Nicki.
Yo,
Thanks.
I think that was probably my best introduction for Nicki yet.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I like
For
that
now,
one too.
for now. And we can't forget, we have our beautiful Piscean man,
Thank
Matthew Mabee.
Thank you so
Matthew!
With the daily Mabee. Shout out Kaylee
Fellow
Jones.
Pisces.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for the coining the name.
Yes.
Yes.
We have Matthew Mabee on here giving us the daily Mabee.
The daily maybe.
With Astrology.
That's such a
Yeah,
clever
shout out
name.
Kaylee Jones for the name. Also, shout out Kaylee Jones doing a Tantra workshop at Yoga Pura for those that are in the Arizona area. Check that out.
3 weeks from now.
Yes. Let's light this bad boy up. Oh yeah, I had the lighter.
I was like,
Matthew,
oh,
you
shoot,
wanna
did
do
we
the
forget
honors?
the lighter?
Yes, give me the flame.
Light. The Olympic torch
Oh
to
my
signify.
God, the
Oh,
fan.
son of a group effort. Yes.
I'm just okay. Well, it's this, but the fan.
That's Arizona. We can't
Group
turn the fan
effort.
off.
Group effort.
I will survive.
It lives.
There you go.
Nice. Hey, shout out.
Group effort.
We love the teamwork around here. Teamwork first, safety first, then teamwork. It's actually Pineapple Express quote again. Thank the Lord. And Mercury's over. We're going to be going into some deep, beautiful astrology. Matthew was on with us earlier this year, breaking down the entire year, which was sweet. And everything is basically, from what I've seen, happened. As far as like in the relationship sector that you were talking about, the shifts and power struggles. It was really cool. And like I said, we're gonna do this a lot. So we're gonna do a little breakdown of a recap, current end, what we're gonna have at the end of the year. And then I also begged him to go into houses so we can understand houses and stuff in our own astrology
Yeah, for real,
charts.
thank you. 'Cause I'm confused about that.
Yeah, the one thing where it goes, oh my god, okay, now there's all these signs, and I have the planets, and you're like, wait, what? There's houses on top of this that also have a whole nother meaning.
Yes.
So
many
wait,
layers.
what? So I'll let Matthew actually take it away for a little recap here.
Yeah. So just a quick little re-intro. I know that if you watched our
yes.
episode earlier this year, my name is Matthew. I have been studying astrology for more than 15 years. Ever since I was very young, I've been fascinated with the planets and how colorful they were, and so it's always been a big draw for me to study them more and learn more about them. As I grew older, I started following many different astrologers online, reading different horoscopes like monthly, daily, and then I finally took a course of learning online as well for 34 weeks and got certified. And not that I feel that anyone really needs to be certified in astrology, because it's such an ancient wisdom that's been
Right.
passed down for thousands of years that anyone really can be an expert as long as you just read what the ancients taught.
Yeah.
So it's a really, really fun and beautiful, some people call it a pseudoscience, but I find it to be more of like a energy study, right? You're studying the energies of the planets and the stars and how they interplay with us on Earth and our fleshy mortal selves.
Because they all hold their own frequency.
They do.
I thought that was cool. Like I looked up some of the sounds
Yes.
that the planets make.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Which is
insane.
wild to me.
It is. It's very
Yeah.
insane. I recently saw a post too, as a sidebar, that said the Earth is magnetic
Uh-huh.
and the Sun is energetic, so that, or electric rather. So that whole electromagnetic.
Hold on, we have the cat going crazy.
Freya's gone crazy.
Yeah, she's got the
She has to attack a
zoomies right
receipt.
now.
She has to attack a receipt on the floor. But anyway, so the sun is electric and the earth is magnetic. So we are the electromagnetic intermediaries where we are between the sun and the earth. So we need that connection. And then on top of that, we're also water bodies, right?
Yeah.
And we
So we
feel
absorb.
that gravitational pull.
Yeah.
We are conduits. We feel that energy as it passes through us.
Yeah.
So
I love that. That was like one of my favorite things when I learned. Oh, hi, baby.
Yeah.
When I learned that you're, 70% or more water,
yeah.
and it's like, oh, okay, well, so that makes sense that the moon would affect,
Everybody
your
on the
body,
planet.
your
Just like it affects
energetic
the tides.
aspect. Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
like water's a conductor,
Yeah.
so it just made sense.
Exactly.
Anyways.
So,
Back
to
to
go
it.
into the houses, a brief little overview. So, houses stem from your natal chart, and the natal chart is depicted in a wheel that's 360 degrees, and they divide the wheel into 12 different houses. And each sign has a honorary house that they natively rule. However, that'll interchange for everyone based on the location on Earth where they were born for their specific natal chart, because that'll be based upon what constellation was coming up on the horizon at the time of your birth, at the location of your birth. But at a macro level, each house of the 12 houses is ruled by one sign, and they each have significance in the individual's life. So the astrologer interpreting the natal chart will look at each house and see what sign for that individual is sitting there, and then look at the native ruler of that house as well to see where it's placed in the natal chart and see how the two intermix and play. So there's a lot of layers into understanding
Repeat that one more time. So you have the chart, and then you have
your
the
personal chart.
Personal
Yeah.
chart, right?
Yeah.
Then you have the planet that already rules it, right, in the house, and then you take a look at what planet is in that and compare how they react with each other.
Yes,
Okay,
you're on the
cool.
right track.
Cool,
You're on the
cool.
right thread. Yeah. So a great way to talk about it is through an example, right? So I'm a Libra rising, which means my first house is Libra. Traditionally, if you were to look at a macro level, the first house is ruled by Aries. So, being a Libra
complimentary.
rising, I'll take into the qualities of Libra and what that house signifies. The house 1 signifies the house of the self, the house of early childhood, the house of the physical body, the house of appearances, So when people meet me, I'm very amicable. I'm very peaceful. I like connection. I like to talk. I love to laugh. It's very Libran qualities, right? That's that Libra energy, and that's my physical body, right? But you also have to look at the dynamic of Aries, because Aries natively rules the first house. And the first house of the self, the physical body, the early childhood, the I am, the me, that's Aries energy. So you have to look at, okay, I'm a Libra rising, but it's natively ruled by Aries. How do those two signs intermix to make my unique first house interpretation, right? And so the astrologer who's reading your chart will digest that and interpret that for you. But let's just talk about the macro level houses and go 1 through 12.
Sweet.
So first house we just said is ruled by Aries natively. Aries is ruled by Mars. So that's why Aries is considered to be like the child of the zodiac, the youngest sign, the one with the most authentic. They're super pure. They have no filter. They're going to say it like it is.
Yeah.
And they're also, because of their purity, they're steadfastly, like, they're the go-getter that will not stop, because they see things from a perspective that is like, the world is full of wonder. And they go for it because they see the wonder. That's Aries in the house of the self, the house of early childhood, the house of... So we also look at, what's sitting in house 1 for things that may have impacted you between the ages of 1 and 7. So it'll be a big indicator for that.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I got this for the coaching program. She got messed that up? No. For the coaching program, they told me to focus on... And when I talk about, I'm just eyeing her because she's walking across my laptop right now. That's actually uploading the previous episode to YouTube, so I don't want her to cancel that. She didn't. That they brought me, when I say they, I'm talking about like whatever guides and just like crush records I was meditating, was to focus on, for the life coaching, house 1, house 4, house 10.
Yep.
And there was one more.
House
I think
12?
7 or
7?
6.
Probably house... If you're going in that pattern, it's probably
1,
house
4,
7.
7, 10.
Yeah. Those are the axis.
Yeah. They were told
1,
to focus
4,
on those.
7, and 10.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until I was like, okay. So then I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's most of that, like house 1, when you're talking about the self, like that's beliefs on self, right? About self and about how you see the world.
Exactly, and how the world sees you when they first meet you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that house 1 and 7, the polarities, the opposites, right? House 1 is the self. House 7 will be the partnership, the connection, the we, the me versus we. House 4 will be the house of the home, your roots, your parents, your childhood home, but also your current home and future homes, and your domesticity. Like, how do you create a safe space for yourself? And also, it could be interpreted as ancestral karma as well.
Oh, wow. Damn.
And then the opposite of that, 4 and 10, right? So opposite, 6 signs away from 4 is house 10.
Yeah.
Is the house of the external world versus the interior world of your house and home. 10 is the external world, your professional career, what you do, how you want the world to see you, how you project yourself outwards, and what you strive for, what you go for, what you work towards, in union with other people.
Okay.
So it usually is affiliated with like your career and your professional work.
I had no idea about any of that.
So that's jumping ahead to the other houses.
Yeah, me too. So we're at 1.
We did 1,
Let's go
and
to
that
2.
was house air ruled
Aries
natively
and
by
Mars.
Aries, and then we'll go on to house 2, which is ruled by Taurus, and it's known as the house of money, honey.
Money,
Your
honey.
monetary
please.
gifts, or like your monetary blessings and abundance, any kind of material things. The house of the earthly garden, right? But it's also, I view it and interpret. I don't know if other astrologers interpret, and this is the other thing too about astrology, is that the astrologer that's interpreting the chart will take found practice science, or rather practices for thousands of years, like saying the first house is the self, the second house is the material abundance. Like that is what they've been teaching for thousands of years, and then they'll have their own personal spins. My own personal spin on the second house is also understanding that it is the house of karma owed to the self. So what other people owe you, what people are indebted to you with.
Dang.
Interesting.
So-
I like that.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty cool.
as a
Yeah.
Libra rising, my second house is Scorpio. So I may find people in affluence because Scorpio tends to manage other people's money. Scorpio's sign is known to like be very successful and wealthy, but also like very successful and wealthy managing other people's assets. So I may have individuals who manage other people's assets that are indebted to me, that owe me something. That's one way to look at it.
Okay.
There's other ways, like I have a dear friend, I won't mention her just to keep her privacy, but I have a dear friend who is, second house is ruled by Aquarius. So people indebted to her are the people that she has created boundaries for, the people that she has fought for, the people that she has helped lift up and build. Because Aquarius is all that humanitarian energy of like providing to the community at large. What's bigger for the majority versus the minority. Like she's helped people thrive, and those individuals are indebted to her. So yeah. So things like that. So we look at the second house, or at least when I do, I look at it as your karma owed to you from other people. The third house is going to be ruled by Gemini natively, and it is the house of communication style. It's the house of early learning. So how do you perceive the world? How do you interpret the world? How do you process things mentally? It's also considered the house of goddess and the house of like extended family members, like cousins, friends that you would consider to be blood family, and also your siblings, because Gemini is the twins. So your siblings. Your parents will be specifically house 4.
All of house 4?
Yes.
Okay.
So house 4 is Cancer, and that is the house of the home, the parents, ancestral karma,
Right.
and just your roots.
What's your own spin on that one? Do you have one?
I do, and for me, oh, sweet Freya.
Hi, baby. We're not playing right now.
I do. I view it as, for me, when I see it, it says a lot about the individual's past and how it interplays with how they are today and how they will be moving forward. Because when you're developing as a child, house 1 and house 4, right? Your early childhood plus house 4, the home you grew up in.
Right.
That really tells you energetically how they are emotionally, psychologically today. Because you can see how those energies interplay.
Yeah.
So Aries is about the self and is a provider. Cancer is about nurturing and what feeds the soul, and what is very selective with who they let into their circle. They're very protective energetically. And so it just depends on your personal natal chart, like what actually sits in house 4 for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cancer is like a natural, wants to be a parent. It's considered like Cancer rules the breasts, which is connected with childhood and breastfeeding and all that. And it is all about caregiving and taking care of those who are very close to you. But you can also look at how energetically you're tied to certain, like let's say for instance, your fourth house is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is known for international travel, for philosophy, for great wisdom, for expanding your knowledge, and developing new beliefs, new truths. So if you had that as house 4 as your energy, you may have a household where you're traveling a lot. You may have been like in a military family where you had to move internationally multiple times, or maybe you were in a home that wasn't safe and you had to move multiple times to different destinations, different areas to find a secure place to live, because Sagittarian energy is like wanting to progress and move and go beyond what is known and develop something new.
Interesting.
So,
What's that? Where Sagittarius falls in like my chart?
Yeah, we'll have to see. It depends on what your rising sign is, and then you can.
It's Leo.
Does it all depend on what your rising sign is?
Yeah, so the rising sign
okay.
starts your first house, and then it goes in what's the word? Sequential order
gotcha, okay.
from that sign.
Okay. So you can go. I can go down from like
Yeah.
whatever comes after Leo to the second one.
Yeah,
That
so
would
Virgo
be-
would be your second house.
Oh.
And then your third house would be
Damn,
Libra.
okay, that makes it so
Libra.
much easier to
And then your fourth house would be
discern what it
Scorpio.
is.
Scorpio. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was a cool breakdown. That clicked in my head now.
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes counterclockwise. Yeah.
Okay.
So I know we don't insert picture here of like what a sample natal chart looks like.
Let's do that.
But it's a wheel, and it's divided into 12 wedges, and each wedge is somewhere around 30 degrees each to encompass one sign. And then the rising sign, the first house, will start on the left-hand side of the chart, and it will show what the sign was that was coming up on the horizon when you were born. And then going beneath it, so you start from the left-hand side and you work counterclockwise back sequentially.
Okay.
So
I see.
Yeah. So if you were Leo rising, then Virgo would be next, and then Libra and then Scorpio, and then it keeps going all the way around.
Sagittarius. So Sagittarius would be my 5th house.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're about to get into 5th house.
5th house.
Let's go.
Yeah. So 5th house is going to be considered your innate talents, gifts, and abilities. Your creative house.
Oh.
Yeah. It's natively
Hey,
ruled by
cool.
Leo.
About creativeness, actually.
Yeah, it's natively ruled by Leo, and Leo is the sign of creation, right? Childbirth. That is creation itself, right?
Oh,
so it's
cool.
considered the house of children.
Yeah.
It's also considered the house of true love, because if there is an innate gift or ability that you have, it's usually something that you truly love, right?
Fair.
House
yeah,
5.
that's
That's
actually
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
So beyond with
Sweet.
like a romantic partner, it's like just like what you truly love to do.
Yeah.
And what is that? What is House 5 ruled by?
Traditionally Leo,
Oh, yeah. You said that.
but for you particularly, it would be Sagittarius.
Yes.
So
Can I ask you what that means?
As you say, is that a good dynamic? Because they're both. I know this is like basic information, but they're both fire signs.
yeah, that's true. It's so true.
Shut up.
That's a whole other topic of talking about the 4 different elements and the different.
Are you serious?
That's
Is
a
that
whole
good?
other topic.
Ah.
Yeah.
Good
shit.
lord.
Yeah, there's so
Alright,
many
we're gonna
layers and
have-
factors that go into.
Well, we're already gonna have you on a bunch, so.
Sagittarius house 5, you're going to probably find yourself truly loving, because Sagittarius is that sign of wanting to obtain new truths, obtain new beliefs. So your true love of yours, you may find, is learning from other people, and also like developing a belief system based off of found traditions and found knowledge and wisdom from other peoples that you meet, building your own belief system,
100%.
and you love that. Yeah. And you want to share that.
I'm right in line with that.
Yeah.
That's why the
Hence
podcast.
Soully Living.
Hence this.
So, I mean, I would say you're doing something you truly love.
That's funny.
So-
That's hilarious.
Um,
That's cool.
yeah, and you may
yeah.
also find yourself with a love of travel if you don't do so much. You may
Yeah.
love to do so when you are able to.
Yeah.
Being able to
Get
see
there.
different places of the world, being able to meet different people.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's coming.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then house
Onwards
6.
and upwards.
House 6 is going to be your house of Dharma. So house 5 being your innate gifts and abilities. House 6 is the Dharma. What are you meant to do here on earth while you're alive in this form? And it's also the house of your health, the house of pets, if you have them. And
smacking her paws.
yeah, so house of health, Dharma, and pets. So it's natively ruled by Virgo, and Virgo is, I hate this expression, but it's
Your
known.
face when you were about to say it,
I know, I'm like, I hate this expression, but it's known, its stereotype is that it's the slave of the zodiac because it is the hardest working sign.
Oh,
It gives
wow, I didn't know
so
that.
much.
You got Virgo
Yeah.
people in your life?
My
that are hard
sister.
working? Oh.
Yeah, but I could. Yeah, she's stressed.
Nicki.
Stress, man.
Sorry. I didn't mean to
Oh,
put it
out
on
here
there.
working. Let's all send some peaceful light energy to our sister.
Well, it's just because the reality
We love
is
you.
Virgo cares so much. They care deeply,
yeah.
and they want to give so much. They want to be providing. Like Virgo is right now. We're in Virgo season, right? It's the end of summer. It's the time of plenty. After an abundant summer, you harvest in Virgo season. So it's the season of plenty. So they want to give as much as possible. They're the hardest working sign.
Dang.
So, in your Dharma, that's why Dharma is affiliated with House 6, because of that Virgo energy of wanting to provide and give and make others thrive. It's understanding for your health, what can you do to give, but not be detrimental to your own personal health. So, right? Don't be the slave of the zodiac.
Yeah, don't be the slave.
Have the
Have
balance.
the balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a very... Wow. What's your spin on that one?
I look at it, it's interesting. I've read hundreds of charts for people, different people. And I think sometimes what scares me is when I see negative placements in that house. And by negative, it's when you have, because this is another layer of astrology, is seeing the mathematical angles that different planets have on the wheel. And certain angles are considered benefic, and other angles are considered malefic. And so if there are malefic angles with planets sitting in one house with other planets in other houses, that's something to be concerned about. And of course I address them in my readings, but so my spin is on the 6th house. If I do see something malefic there, I definitely let the person know and just say, take this with a grain of salt. This is what I see, but it is your life and you are the creator of your destiny.
Yeah.
But just know that this
is
energy is
there.
present
Yeah.
in your chart. Well, for instance, one chart I had an individual who she was in her mid 50s, and I told her, I said, the placement that you have here is very negatively placed with another planet, and it was in the sign of Scorpio, and her house 6 was Scorpio. And this isn't to say that all people with signs house 6 Scorpio is going to have this. It's just particularly this placement of Mars sitting there in Scorpio. Mars rules Scorpio. And it was negatively connected to another planet in her chart. I forget which one. But that negative interplay, I told her, I said, you may have encountered negative encounters sexually with men. And, it is... I told her, I was like, I want you to be aware that there's energy here that don't find yourself in situations with men that you don't need to be in. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going out with somebody that you barely know, maybe bring a friend with you or whatever. Like, don't
put yourself in a
at risk.
situation negatively.
And she did share with me that she had negative experiences when she was younger, and she was in her mid-50s, but she had poor encounters that were very unfortunate. So it's just things like that where I like to, like, my spin is like, if there is something malefic there, is how do I gently say, like, be aware of this information and know that it can happen based on the placement of this. So my spin is like bringing up if there is something malefic and how can I say it gently to be helpful and constructive, so that's the most important thing. And then I try to focus back in on the Dharma of like, what can you do given the health dynamic? Like, what can you do with this energy to provide back, to give back in your Dharma
How
work?
can you transmute that back
and
into...
ironically, she was working in like social work with like protecting young
women.
children.
Oh,
So
so
like how can you transform that energy?
Yeah. Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
Shout out her.
Yeah. House 7. I know, it's just like privacy. Like I can't say.
Yeah, well, no,
but,
100%. I
like,
don't want you saying. I don't want you
Yeah.
dropping names. You can drop my name. Like,
I mean, other than Josh's name. Sorry, Joshua.
you could drop Nicki too.
No, Nicki will keep private.
Yeah,
No.
I was like, you just said that. I had no.
Wait, Nicki, do we have your consent?
Yeah, you can. You
Okay.
can. It's all good.
Nicki's like, you'll be hearing from my lawyer.
She's had this conversation multiple times. She said, Josh, you're going to stop saying my name like that in the beginning of the episodes.
Gosh.
Well, I jest.
So that's house 6.
Hey,
Wait.
What's
No, go to house 7.
House 7 is going to be the opposite of house 1. So it's the the connection, the partnership. And it's primarily for the romantic partner, but it also includes friendships, business partners, collaborations, your legal representative if you're having
our lawyers.
if you have a lawyer. It's those kinds of relationships, but the primary energy is your romantic relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's natively ruled by Libra. The balance, the scales, all about give and take, right? The balance.
Libras are cool. Shout out all my Libras.
So that's the energy of house 7. So there's a lot to take away from that house. And it can, like, usually when I see, if I see Mercury sitting in house 7 for people, I'm always like, well, I'm like, you may have had multiple relationships in your lifetime. Mercury's the fastest planet, so like it's just like
going through
I was
every
like, you may
6
have had
months, every
multiple
4
partners.
months.
And you may have had to learn a lot of life lessons with different partners. But it doesn't mean like forever. It just means for a period of time in your life, you may have had lots of relationships. So then house 8, you have the house of sex, death, rebirth, the house of transformation.
Ooh.
It's also considered, because it's opposite house 2, karma owed to you. House 8 is karma you owe others.
Ooh.
So that one can be a little difficult, a little painful.
Yeah.
One chart I do like to reference to give people a place of understanding is, like, for instance, Princess Diana. Her chart, she had Uranus in house 8 in Leo. Leo is the royal sign. Leo is regal, the lion, the pride, right? So sitting in house 7, Uranus is the planet of volatility, of extremes. Extremely great, but also extremely bad. And like Uranus also sitting in house 8, because it's the house of sex, death, rebirth, and transformation, is also indicative that you may be more predisposed to untimely death or like like something shocking happening to you.
I gotta check my chart.
Yeah, so that's because Uranus is the planet of volatility.
Okay. Yeah.
And specifically for her, it was in Leo. And Leo is the sign of royalty.
Yeah.
And like her life skyrocketed. She went from being, I mean, she was aristocratic, but she was very low level, like a no one. She just was a normal girl going to college. I mean, she was a little wealthy, but she was like, you know, nobody knew who she was until she got catapulted into the stardom of being with the royal family. So like,
good Lord.
Talk about big highs and big lows. Yeah. So
I don't know how that would feel, having that many eyes on you.
Yeah.
Like 20,
karmically,
24/7.
She was indebted to the royal family in some capacity, right?
To the royal family or to the people?
Maybe to the people too. You could probably interpret it that way, but I would say like she wouldn't have had that platform without the royal family. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
She would have been a nobody.
Yeah, okay.
Without
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
the royal family.
Yeah, very true. Okay.
Yeah.
Which sign did you say this was?
This was Leo.
No,
sorry,
the native sign.
Sorry. The native sign for House 8 is Scorpio.
That's what I was gonna say. It's got to be Scorpio.
It's Scorpio.
I don't know
Yeah.
why. It's Scorpio vibes.
Yeah. So and that's the thing too. So Scorpio rules the genitalia. That's why it's considered the house of sex, death, and rebirth, right?
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
So like.
Genitalia.
So like, yeah, you know, you consummate to have a baby, you give birth, and that's also like the death of the self, right? You're no longer just yourself. You're you plus another, right? When you're into parenthood. So there's a house of transformation. So that's scorpionic energy, transforming, shedding the old skin.
It does feel very like snake-like.
Yeah.
I don't know why when I hear Scorpio, I for some reason in my head, like I do see the scorpion, but I do feel like snake.
Because of that energy of shedding the skin, right? I don't know, scorpions, they may also shed.
Do too.
They may shed too.
Yeah. They have like a weird, because like they had to develop that exoskeleton around them, because when they're born, they're just like this weird fleshy little thing that's like
little
easy
aliens.
to kill. Yeah, like literally the alien versus predators, like literally those little alien things they look like.
Oof.
You ever seen baby scorpion? No.
That's a good thing.
I was gonna say those are the deadly ones.
They are the deadly ones.
Yeah. Crazy. I've lived here my whole life. I've never actually. That's a lie. I have seen them like in people's backyards when they're like
with the
black light. But at my house, I've never seen them. I've never had scorpions at my parents' house.
You know, I truly believe. Knock on wood. I truly believe.
I don't know if this is wood.
Karmically, like if you see certain animals, like there is a energetic karmic tie to that. So like a scorpion, right? It's venomous, it's poisonous. If it comes to sting you, there is some sort of karmic energy that you're carrying that is meant to be like, it's not just the random you're getting stung by a scorpion. There's something else at play in your life that the universe is trying to show you.
I can see that 100%.
Yeah.
So like you not seeing a scorpion ever, knock on wood.
I got
it's
it.
Like the universe is not trying to show you something that's glaringly karmic, you know. Somebody else who gets stung by a scorpion, maybe the universe is trying to show you, hey, pay attention to some other aspect in your life, like stop what you're doing right now. There's something venomous in your life, you know, that you need to pay attention to.
Like, hey, let's slow you down so you can see this. Interesting.
Yeah.
I can see
what
that.
about a butterfly?
Butterfly is also showing as a sample of change, right? Because they melt their whole body in a chrysalis to become. They literally lose their form.
Yeah,
that's insane.
And then they become a butterfly.
Yeah, exactly. They literally like morph themselves. Like it all breaks down. The caterpillar breaks down. Into goop.
I didn't know that. I learned this recently. I didn't know that that whole like metamorphosis or whatever.
Yeah.
That is at the end of their life. So they only are like butterflies for like not very long.
It's like 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like it's a very short life. Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's twisted.
Yeah,
Thanks, dude. But yeah, like their whole like most of their life is like them and as caterpillar in the cocoon, and then they get to live out butterfly for like not very long.
How long do you think how long did you know how long they live for?
Butterflies?
I think it's like 1 or 2 weeks.
I don't
It's
know.
very
Really?
short-lived. Yeah.
Aww.
Oh, except for the
It's so
monarch,
beautiful.
because the monarch's life,
Monarch travels.
They
go
migrate.
from
Damn,
dude.
that's
When I was a
crazy.
kid, we had in grade school we did we had to like take care of these caterpillars, and they were all monarch butterflies.
Yeah.
And so we like grew them basically, and got to watch them through
That's
the whole
cool.
process.
I like that.
And at the
Yeah.
end of the year, we like let them go. So there was all hundreds of them that were flying, and then they taught us about the journey that they would take all the way down to Mexico.
It's really
they
beautiful.
Make this whole, whole
Damn.
flight. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's
yeah,
so
it's
cool.
wild.
I love it.
Nature.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think nature shows us signs all the time. It's just a matter of paying attention to them and understanding what they mean.
Yeah. Meredith and I had a beautiful little butterfly as we were on Costco. It was like floating around all our
Mm.
food. We were putting everything away in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of watched it and it float away. It was like this yellow with like this like, or it was like kind of like a lighter color, maybe like a lighter green, like a
Yeah.
black outside. It was sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
I don't want to get too off topic, but I
Yeah.
have a question real quick. So, like, with, like, the whole thing with animals and, like, bringing a message and stuff,
Yeah.
in dreams, I constantly, because I'm not going to see, like, a tiger out in real life, but, like,
Right.
I see lions and, like, wildcats all the time in my dreams, and I always get, like, these intense messages with those. So I'm wondering, because I know some people, like, there's, like, concepts of, like, having spirit animal,
Yeah.
but also, or is it just, like, this is just a time in your life where this animal, like, you have to learn from this.
Do you need to
like,
get a cat?
I can't speak to spirit animals.
Oh,
but
okay.
I can speak to symbolism, and I believe that symbolism through animals, like the universe is trying to show you a message. And I think with large predator type cats, I feel energetically that that's showing you that there is a power that you have that, because it's only coming through the form of dreams, right? It'd be one thing if you saw like bobcats or mountain lions a lot in your
Yeah,
waking life. But if it's only coming through your dreams, that kind of tells me subliminally there is a power that you hold that you're underutilizing, and your body is trying to show you in some way, like, you need to step out and show this more proudly, like a tiger or a lion, where it takes presence, because it's only being seen in the dreams.
Damn.
So
I was gonna ask. I was
that's
actually
cool
gonna
that
ask. Before you said that, I was gonna ask, where does Leo fall on your?
Oh, it's my North Node. North Node and
Really?
yeah. And I don't know if it's in my
I was thinking about where you're
for the
at in your
houses.
house. What's your rising?
So my rising
we can figure it
is-
out how, because we
your
got a
rising
trick
was
now.
Aries, right?
Cancer
No. Oh,
rising.
Cancer rising.
so
Cancer. What comes after Cancer?
Cancer, then Leo.
oh
so
right
in your
there.
second house.
So it's my second house. So that's I forgot what
Abundance,
else is abundant. Oh,
material.
Material.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
And karma owed to you.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So people in powerful places,
Oh dang.
like the royalty, Leo
Yeah.
is the royal sign. So it could be just people in authority, right? They owe you, or they may feel indebted to you in some way. So you may find, like, and it could be even be as small as like in the workplace. You may just find like your superiors, your bosses, may be more inclined to listen to you when you have an input and take your advice or take your suggestions or your plans and really take it seriously, you know? So like that sort of indebtedness of
Gotcha.
like people in authority really listening to you, or feeling the need or compelled to listen to you, or give you something, provide you something, give you opportunity.
Damn.
You know?
Okay.
So
Looking up.
You got to bring out that energy, though.
Yeah,
that's what's
I know.
That's the
asking
thing.
I
Yeah,
feel like to
actually,
grasp that, to like have that
To
start
see
to come
that,
into your
yeah.
life. You
especially
gotta
the
unlock
North
that
Node.
part, yeah.
Because the North Node is the path that you're walking towards in this
Yeah,
lifetime,
yeah.
versus the South Node, which is the opposite, is your place of comfort. You came into this life and it's easy, it's second nature, you don't have a problem with it. You don't have a problem. Oh my god, that makes so much sense. So Piscean too.
Oh
Wait,
my
what's
God.
her south
Now
node
you
then?
see it
Your
everything.
South Node is Aquarius.
Yeah, South
and
Node is
house
Aquarius.
eighth house, which is what is indebted to everyone else.
Oh.
So you don't have a problem. You have a place of comfort of giving to everybody else.
Oh, shit.
Lifting everybody else up.
Oh, no.
And making them happy. And Aquarian energy is all about the majority. What's best for the group at large. And sacrifice the selfish
Oh
needs.
my god.
Damn.
That's the place
That's
of
like
comfort.
10. Yeah,
That's like
tenfold,
that's
bro.
all of you.
That was the gonna say. No
That
wonder.
was literally we
my
we
God.
just explained and understood Nicki in like 5 minutes. That's not true. She's a very deep character.
So maybe,
Thanks, bro.
so especially Leo being ruled by cats in your dreams, there's a power, an authority, a presence that you have that isn't expressed. And it's something that is going to be lifelong for you, where it'll be reoccurring, where you need to pull on that energy and pull it out in order to walk towards the path you're meant to be on.
Damn.
So
That
well,
resonates. Thank you so
Nice,
much
dude.
for breaking that down.
It's a daily maybe. Matthew maybe. Oh, we're still we gotta go to number 9.
I know,
We're
now we're at
close.
House 9.
We're
House
getting
9. House 9 is natively ruled by Sagittarius, and House 9 is your connection with the divine. So House 7 was like your connection with a partner.
Okay.
House 8 was your connection with others and like the debt that you have with other people. House 10 or House 9 is all about your connection with the higher realm, the divine, your wisdom. How do you
What's-
develop your beliefs, your truths? How
What's
do you
that sign ruled by?
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
So the higher
the
self.
wisdom, yeah, the higher
Yeah.
self. Okay, cool.
So Sagittarian energy is all about not settling for what is presented to them. They see what's presented to them, but they're like, there's more to this.
Oh.
It's not like
Yeah.
they don't settle, and they develop their own truth, their own belief based off of their experiences, what they've received from other people, what they've digested from other people informationally, and then they expand and grow and make a
Yeah.
whole new system and make a whole new
I
belief.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
Wonderful. Okay, anyway, what's 10?
and House 9 is also considered House of God versus House 3 was House of Goddess. So the two are the opposites.
Opposites.
Mhm.
So, question before we get all the way to 12.
Mhm.
Would you say there's a beautiful correlation between 3, 6, 9, and 12?
Yes.
Are those the acts? Are those also like
Yes.
axis wise?
Yes. So those are the mutable signs natively,
Okay.
and that's a whole nother. There's a
whole
nother
nother-
layer.
a whole nother-
Yeah.
gosh.
The mutable
Crazy.
signs. So the
Astrology is like ogres,
Yeah.
and ogres are like onions.
There's many layers. So the mutable signs, the
The
3,
Shrek
6, 9, and
reference.
12, they possess the most energy for change. Like the
Okay.
most energy to be open to shifting. They're the flexible signs. They understand that, like, for instance, House 3, right, is your house of communication style, how you learn. You get to understand yourself better by experiencing and pulling in information, whether it's tactily in your hands, you're doing something with your hands, or if it's visually, if you're, learning by seeing, or audio, I don't know how you say it, auditorily.
Auditorially.
Yeah, like we're listening, right? So you're adapting. These signs are the adaptive signs. You're adapting to what your needs are in order to achieve whatever that quality is. So the quality of House 3 is education, learning, the House of Goddess, the House of like divine wisdom, intuition. House 6, your dharma, what you give back to the world, your health. You're adapting that as well because you know that you want to do something with the innate
With
gifts
it.
that you have.
Right.
But you have to balance your health, so you have to adapt and be flexible and change. Like, it can't always be one way. It needs to be adaptive and grow and to include you in what you give back to others. House 9 is there's not just one truth. There's many truths, and you're developing those truths by listening to others, by learning, by information gathering, and seeking to have a higher connection to something greater than us. And then House 12.
We'll get to 12. I want to pause.
I know.
I'm leave my cliffhanger because we're going to get to 10. We'll get to 12.
Yeah. So House 10 is considered the connection with the external world versus the inner world, House 4. Inner world
Right.
being your house of home. House 10 is the professional life, the career life, how you want people to see you when you first meet them, versus House 1 is how people actually see you when they meet you. House 10 is like, this is what I would like to be when people meet me, you know? My House 10 is a Leo. And so professionally, like, or no, I'm sorry, my House 10 is actually Cancer. I take that back. My House 10 is a Cancer.
What is House 10 ruled by?
Natively, it's ruled by Capricorn.
Mm.
Capricorn's the builder. They want to,
Gotcha.
they take a plan. They're like A, B, C to Z. Like they just
We're going
grow
through every
exponentially.
step.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they love a plan. They're very systematic, and they are never get crossed with a Capricorn because they keep all the receipts. They have all the receipts. They will tear
I will make
you
sure of that.
down. So yeah, Capricorn energy is very they're very structured, they're very systematic, they're very but also progressive. Like they understand that maybe the structure isn't beneficial, and maybe I need to progress it and transform it into something new to make it even better than what it was. Yeah, it's that energy of how you want other people to see you. Capricorn presents very fine on the outside. They love black and white. They're very clean looking. They're very like they're for ladies that are Capricorn, they're the ones that are always like their nails are perfect. Their outfits are perfect. Their makeup is perfect. Their hair is perfect. Like everything is perfect.
okay,
That's a
yeah.
Capricorn woman. Capricorn man is like also presents very clean, right? Men don't necessarily wear makeup as much, but they are very clean. They're usually very clean shaven. They're very they're active in the gym or whatever, and like they're very they're those individuals that are they're perfectionists.
Yeah.
So they see things as like nothing's ever good enough. They have to like keep making
going.
it better.
Yeah.
Keep making it better.
Wow.
That's the Capricorn energy.
They're not the slaves of the...
No.
Yeah.
No, because Capricorns know how to balance the self needs, right? Versus Virgo has self needs. However, they're too focused on what other people's needs are versus satisfying their own self needs. Capricorn will focus on the needs at large, but they're also like, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I see that, okay.
So,
Good breakdown.
House 11 is Aquarius, natively ruled by Aquarius. And the House of 11 is your communities at large, your friend groups, your societies and circles that you affiliate yourself with. But it's also the house of people that'll lend you a helping hand. So the benefactor house. So,
Like companions and
yeah. Or like maybe
friends,
you
close
get...
friends.
get a loan from this person, or
Oh,
get
okay.
like this person, like, or this person saves you from a really unfortunate situation you were in, like gets you out of
Damn.
like a really dark time in your life or whatever.
Yeah.
Things like that. And then House 12 represents the unknown. It's
Ooh.
natively ruled by Pisces. Nicki!
Hey.
It's natively ruled by Pisces.
Both of you
Yeah.
guys.
So it's the...
Never know what's going to happen when I'm around you too.
It's considered the shadow world of the hidden secrets, the unknowns. It is also affiliated with past lives. It is the dream state. It is the in-between this world and the next. Yeah, so House 12 is just the house of mysteries.
Mysteries.
They,
So how does that fit? Let's go back to the 3, 6, 9, 12.
Yeah, so historically, like back in ancient times, they considered House 12 to be a very malefic house, right? The house of like witchcraft, or like the house of like if you have Saturn in House 12, the ancient astrologers would interpret that to be like the malefic planet Saturn in the malefic house of doom.
Oh, God.
You know, like they'd be like, there's going to be so much misfortune in your life. Like, you know, they would interpret it so harshly.
Yeah.
I obviously look at things like that and say, like, yes, recognize that there are some negative aspects for that being there, but I also like to look at what can this do for you in your life, actually? How will this propel you forward? You know, instead of focusing in on all of what the
that's not
ancients
gonna-
would talk about.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna do it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not gonna benefit your life in
Yeah,
any
no,
way.
yeah. Not at all.
The
Yeah.
House of Doom.
House of Doom.
You are doomed for eons to come. Your ancestors will feel this.
So yeah, the 3, 6, 9, 12 is the mutable signs. They're the signs that are more flexible to change, right? So maybe in a past life you were something else or someone else, and in this life you were given a different opportunity, a different experience. That's energy of house 12, past life energy, right?
Past life
House
energy.
of transformation and change, like being flexible,
Yeah.
knowing that this isn't the end all be all, knowing that this form is, who's to say that this is the best form?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's actually, so that almost, if we were to look at it, when going back to
Yeah.
the circumference, well, like the
That's-
axis of
yeah.
the 3, 6, 9, 12, that's like, I feel like that expands out from what you believe the goddess and the god aspect in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, the 6 was your dharma, it's your purpose of like fulfilling that, and then like
12
going
being
back
the
to the
unknown.
unknown, not knowing,
Yeah.
you know, what
there's
happens
so
when you go
much.
through that process. It's like, well,
Yeah. You learn through
Interesting.
doing the
You
Dharma.
learn through,
You
yeah.
start to learn more of the unknown.
yeah.
So,
Woo! I
Yeah.
know. I want to do those. Are there like? Can you do just like specific readings on the axis? Like, would that be very deep on things like that, or like?
when I do a natal chart reading, I'm always like, it'll be 60 minutes, and it always ends up being 90. And the reason behind it is because usually I have to like, most people aren't very familiar with
Yeah, so
astrology,
you
so,
gotta
I have to
break it
like
down.
give them the buffer of like, okay, this is what astrology is, and these are the different planets and signs, and this is what they mean, and then we go
Yeah.
into detail with every single house. So I really feel that you can do a reading on the 3, 6, 9, 12, and you could spend a whole podcast episode talking about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would be fun.
that would be really fun.
All right, we'll table that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
So-
I don't know why. Because like the 3, 6, 9, and like I don't know, for some reason that has a very powerful, energetic,
Numerological.
yeah,
number.
numerologic to me.
Yeah.
So well into like I guess the universe, the way that Tesla talks about it, and the way that music works, it's just strange. So yeah, I would like to
Yeah.
go in on that a little bit.
Yeah, I
Look at
love
that.
numerology. That's a whole nother topic, a whole nother
Oh, yeah.
podcast in
Yeah,
and
yeah.
of itself. Yeah.
So now that we got a beautiful breakdown of the houses, what like I want to hear as far as, because you just spoke on Pluto retrograde
Yes.
and like what's to come, because
Yes.
I think we would all like a little bit of
Yeah.
preparedness,
Yeah.
somewhat.
So I'll start with a little recap of the summer
Yeah. Oh
of
yeah.
what we just went
Yeah,
through.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah,
And there was a huge transit in like late May, early June. And we were blessed in May with like some really beautiful auspicious conjunctions with the Sun, Venus, Uranus, and Jupiter all being in Taurus in May. It was
Ooh.
this sweet, harmonious energy, and it was all singing with the energy of Pisces, where Saturn and Neptune had been sitting. So there was this beautiful energy of like so much possibility for so many people. So May, you may have noticed like there's hope, or there's some new projects developing, or there's new ideas formulating, or there's new new people entering your world, or talks of adding more people to your world, like if you're growing a team, or if you're growing a family, or if things like that. June, the energy shifted into something that was a little bit more challenging, and it's because Jupiter entered Gemini. Jupiter doesn't like being in Gemini. Jupiter loves being in Sagittarius, which is the opposite sign of Gemini. So it's in a position where it's not happy, and it's going to sit there for a year.
Great.
And then on top of that, it's been fighting with Pisces, with Saturn, in Pisces. So these two titans, and there's a whole science and study of the revolutions of Jupiter and Saturn around the sun. They interplay with each other on like 20-year cycles where they are happy with one another for a certain amount of time, then they're unhappy for a certain amount of time. It's like every 4 or 5 years they're happy, then 4 or 5 years they're unhappy. And every 4 or 5 years they're happy. And it's like this clockwork every 20 years. But because they're the largest planets in our solar system, they have so much more impact on us because their gravitational pull is stronger.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I loved the show on Netflix, Total Sidebar. This is in relation to Jupiter and Saturn. I forget the name of it. I think it's called Our Universe or something like that, where on the episodes they were talking about the formulation of our solar system. And one hypothesis, they don't know if this is true, but one hypothesis that astronomers believe in the development of our solar system and the asteroid belt was that Jupiter developed before Saturn, and it was on a collision course with the sun because it was basically Jupiter was a mini star forming at the same time as our sun, the star. And because the sun was greater in energy and force, it was pulling it inwards on a collision course. At the same time, there was still debris and material in the outer solar system where Saturn was. Saturn started formulating, and Saturn, once it developed, started pulling Jupiter back out into the outer space, back into the outer belts. So that's why all the material in the outer belt is like destroyed because Jupiter was like coming in to like go closer to the sun. So why do I say that? It speaks, like when I heard that's their hypothesis, I was like, oh my God, that is exactly what Saturnian energy is. It's encapsulated by rings. It's historically in astrology been known to be the restrictor, the one that draws
pulls you back.
Boundaries. The rings, because of the rings, it's all about boundaries. And so it was like, hey, Jupiter, stop going on a crash course with the sun, come back here, and pulled it back. So like, so these two titans in the sky have always had this energy of not animosity, but they are contentious, and because they're huge, and they're so big, and so the year ahead, Jupiter spends 1 year in a sign, Saturn spends 3 years in a sign. So,
Good Lord.
I know. So we're sitting with Saturn in Pisces right now. So there's a lot of energy around how do we feel about the environments that we're in? Where do our boundaries lay about our feelings? And how do other people's feelings energetically affect us? And do we need to reassess what those energetic boundaries are for our emotional body? And for Jupiter sitting in Gemini, not happily, because Jupiter is all about like abundance and having no restriction and like being all like the partier, the one that wants to like the obsessive compulsive, like give it all to me, you know? And Gemini is like rational, logical, super witty and smart, and is like, no, that's not rational, like stop being irrational. Jupiter's the planet of like, you know, let's get lost and like let's keep doing this and like let's go in one direction. That Sagittarian energy of like, I'm gonna go this way, and Gemini's like, why are you doing that? Like that's just stupid. Like, you know. So there's this like conflict of energy in Gemini, and it's fighting the emotional energetic boundaries that we have with Saturn and Pisces. So that is going to be interplaying with us for the next year of this like energy of trying to rationalize our irrationality and how our emotional body interplays with other people, and they're fighting with one another. So this like, and then we throw into the mix over the summer, we had a Mercury retrograde in August. Freya. Oh, sweet Freya.
I'm gonna let her out.
Okay. And the Mercury retrograde, every time it happens, it just resurfaces people from the past. And we also have a breakdown of communication, breakdown of technology. You may have had flights delayed or canceled, or issues with buying things, or issues with things being out of supply or out of stock, or misreading a contract if you had to read a contract and there was some underlying clause you didn't know about, and things like that. So that also happened over the summer. And then we also had two super moons in Capricorn, which is rare to have two of the same.
This was in July, right?
Yeah. June and then July.
Yeah.
So we had two Capricorn full moons, which was interesting because it was like 0 degrees Capricorn and then like 29 degrees Capricorn. So it was the beginning of the sign and the end of the sign. So it was this energy of, and Capricorn is the winter time. So like the energy we felt back in like December, January of this past year, that was resurfacing in the summer. And it was like beginning and ending, like what was then and this is now. It's resurfacing. And pay attention, because this will be important in the days to come, right? Because the universe is repeating it twice for us to pay attention to.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
So that was something to pay attention. So anything that happened to you over the solstice weekend, June the 20th weekend time frame, and then the weekend of July 20th to the 22nd, those 2 weekends, if anything happened to you, pay attention, because those energetic frequencies will repeat come this winter again. So just pay attention to...
Look back, take a look back at where it was.
Same.
Yeah.
I think I remember those full moons, though. Yeah, that one was... I do remember those. It's already starting to come back.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Yeah, for me, I have to be careful because I was recently, we won't go into detail, but I was recently sick for 2 months.
Yeah.
And had to be on medication. And so I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
I need to be careful.
That was right in that timeline, huh?
Yeah. It was the exact timeline.
Oh, God.
It was the exact timeline.
Oh, my gosh.
So I have to be careful. So that was just the summer. Additionally, we have right now Pluto's is currently in retrograde, and it was sitting in Aquarius, and today it goes back into Capricorn. And Pluto's been teetering between Aquarius and Capricorn for like the past 2 years, and because it moves so slow. But after it goes direct again later this year, it'll advance into Aquarius into 2025, and it'll stay there for like 20-something years. So
that's why a lot of people have that. Yeah, we talked about that, the generational signs. Yeah.
And artificial intelligence with Pluto sitting in Aquarius, I think that's going to be the biggest message over the next 20 years. Artificial intelligence and how do we move humanity. Aquarius is all about the majority.
Right.
And drawing clean boundaries, distincting the line of like what is good for the majority and cutting out the minority. And the minority being like, people that are just like, me, like being the negative Nancys, like Aquarius just cuts them out. She's like, okay, we're done with you. And we're going to focus on the people that at large.
Yeah.
So, that's very Aquarian. So I think that energy, artificial intelligence will interplay with that. Like, there may be people saying, oh, artificial intelligence is terrible for society and blah, 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 blah. But I don't know. I guess we'd have to take a poll to really know how many people feel one way or the other about artificial intelligence. Yeah. My personal feeling is that most people are excited about the possibility of what artificial intelligence holds.
We did an episode a little bit about it. And I think, like, after hearing about it, I think we're using it in a really dumb way.
Yeah.
Maybe in some aspects.
Yeah.
Like, I see all these little AI things that come out for like like ChatGPT, I can just sit there and ask you questions, like, or like marketing stuff, or,
Yeah,
or
or
things like
rewrites
that,
your
or
emails
rewrites
for you.
yeah, emails, or like helping you generate
Yeah.
code.
Make it sound more professional.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like, it
Make
was
it sound less bitchy and more professional.
Generate me a photo of a lion with a suit on that is sick of his job, and you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that, or like,
Shit.
you know, you generate, you know, so like, but I also know that it is on a really large scale level to like actual robots,
Yeah.
and like workers in like AI robot workers.
Yeah.
And you have like Waymos out here, which those are technically AIs.
Technically, it's driving by itself.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
would have thought?
Yeah.
Driverless cars.
Well, Uber had those. Do you remember when Uber had those?
I don't.
I don't know if you were out here yet.
I don't
So
think
back
so.
in 20, it was before COVID. It was like 2018, maybe 2017.
Okay.
They were starting the
Like
Uber
test.
like self-driving.
Like testing it out.
Yeah. And so some of them didn't have one, and some of them did have people that were in there to always monitor it. But they had like, hey, this is the technology, and they were everywhere. I mean, like,
Wow.
you couldn't go on a drive down the street
Without
like
seeing
5
it.
minutes without seeing like 3 of them, 3
Wow.
to 4 of them.
Because they were mapping out the routes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then Waymo, there was a couple Waymos, and then Waymo just like took over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's insane that. Well, it's not insane. It's really cool and really beautiful that
I
we
think-
can have that kind of access.
I would
you know?
I would hope that we use it to a benefit of like, okay, well, give us a plan or help us develop a plan to utilize, you know, the renewable energy that is provided from the planet, like whether it be solar, whether it be wind, like what's the most optimal places to have these things to help us get away from fossil fuels,
Mhm.
or like, you know, what are the best ways to, you know, ultimately make energy free, like that's
Yeah.
possible. So so those things, you know, I would think it would be very helpful with, but I
Mhm.
can see the doomsday, you know, paranoia of, oh my god,
Yeah.
all these robots
They
are going
take
to think
over,
humans
yeah.
a virus, and we just need to get rid of us all.
But my argument to that is, who's to say that this is the best form? You know, that's my argument.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't want to be a robot.
I mean,
I don't know if we
I've
would
never
see
been
that.
a robot, so I wouldn't
That's-
know. I wouldn't know.
I guess I have had thoughts of like, damn, if I just didn't have to like eat and like
Yeah.
take care of organs and worry about
Well,
those things.
The way we treat
I
our
wonder what
planet
life would be
and
like.
and the planet doing its own cleansing cycle of cleaning itself by creating more
Yeah.
toxicity and more a hotter
Storms,
environment
hot
and stormy.
environments. Oh, yeah, it's
Maybe
trying
you
to kill
have to be a
itself.
robot to live here moving forward. You know what I mean? So
Oh.
maybe the age of Pluto and Aquarius will also see us transporting humans into outer space.
Oh, good
into,
lord.
you know, doing that. Who knows, over the next 20 years. But yeah, that's Pluto. Pluto is all about like Pluto was discovered at the time of the atomic bomb, and so it's always been affiliated with
destruction.
Yeah, so it kind of poses this like being an Aquarius, like this destruction of society that we know.
Damn.
I mean,
Yeah, the humanity
I-
that we know.
I would hope so, but I also know that doesn't it have to do with rebirth too?
Yes. Mhm.
So, wouldn't, if it's rebirthing in Aquarius, wouldn't
Maybe
that be
rebirthing as a
something-
robot.
Because what is Aquarius? Aquarius
It's an
stands
air
for
sign.
an air sign.
And they're the sign of I know. They're the
well,
smartest sign in the zodiac, next to Virgo.
now that I think about this on a
Yeah.
consciousness level,
Mm-hmm.
if we're thinking about this on not on a physical reality level, but on a consciousness level,
Mm-hmm.
if you have the death of the way that societal believes it needs to be run,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what we're calling like this large societal death of like, hey, we're doing things the whole way that's
Yeah.
wacky, out of whack. This doesn't coincide with,
Yeah.
you know, then it could have a rebirth of, no, I know self, and I
Yeah.
know this connection, and it transforms into
Yeah.
something beautiful, like you call it a new earth or new age
Yeah.
or whatever. It could spark that instead of this, doomsday. It could all culminate at the same time, though, which is a wild thing. We could have a Terminator on our hands.
Wow. But to piggyback what you were saying, like you were going in the right direction of saying like a death of the society that we know.
Yeah.
Like right now, the societal construct that we live in benefits really one demographic.
Yeah.
And like I think in the next 20 years, my hope is that that will transform and change.
Yeah.
Where it's much more equalized
Yeah.
and much more like
Careful, though. It's not to call you a communist. I can't stand that.
I
That drives me
know,
absolutely
I'm like,
nuts.
it's just, it's so unfortunate. It's really sad. It's
Yeah.
really sad to see.
Well, because, and I got in an argument with my family,
yeah.
is like, they were, it's like, oh, capitalism, and you have all this stuff. Whatever these
literally-
things are run, whatever they are. And they're like, what are you, a socialist and all this stuff? And I was like, I'm not saying I'm any of these. I'm saying that what we're doing hasn't worked.
It hasn't.
And it's not benefiting all aspects of what a human is,
Yeah.
and like how we're supposed to interact with the world around us, and
Right.
be with the earth, instead of trying to make ourselves comfort because we think we're kings and playing high and mighty for
Exactly.
some reason.
It's those that have and those that have not.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yep. You're gonna just stay there. We're gonna leave you
Yeah.
poor, and no, my life is so grand, and I'm doing all these things, and I'm gonna take this because one of the Kardashians, I saw this, took literally a private jet flight to go get food in France, and then came back because she liked the food there. This one, like literally a meal, and it's like, how much gas did you just put out? So like that kind of like lifestyle,
Indulgence.
granted,
yeah.
is great, but it's like there's
That's gluttony.
so much
Yeah.
that doesn't
Yeah.
it does make sense to me. But anyways, I see what you're saying on like a community level. Like I would love to see that
Yeah.
become more harmonious with
Yeah.
the world we're living in. Hopefully, I feel like we're moving that direction slowly.
Like-
It's very slow.
How do I get to the universe where women run the world?
Thought about that too.
I'm like, which dimension is it? It's currently not this one.
How do we shift?
Which dimension
How do we
is
shift
it?
of having this instilled Romanesque behavior? Which it's like, dude, Rome crumbled and got destroyed. We really want to go that route again?
I know. Seriously.
We really want to keep playing this game? Keep rolling this dice?
Yeah.
But anyways,
But that's Pluto
I
and
digress.
Aquarius. And so hopefully we'll see something transform with Pluto and Aquarius.
that's
Universe willing. Like please make something new for all of us, for all of society.
What else we got coming?
So ahead, we're going to get a precursor of, so the eclipse cycle happens every 2 years
Mhm.
in 2 different signs. And currently we've been sitting in Aries and Libra, and the Aries eclipse back in April was a total solar eclipse, and then we had a lunar eclipse in Libra in March. The energy at play with that was, like we spoke about last time, how that Libra energy of like, I don't think I'm going to listen to this anymore. I don't think
Yeah.
I'm going to put up with this in a relationship or a connection anymore.
Right.
I'm going to like listen to Aries and think for myself and like speak out and like draw the line and say like,
Mhm.
no, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And also assert myself too. When I need something, I'm going to assert, because Libra also can have an issue with asserting themselves in a relationship because they want to keep the peace, right? They don't want to rock the
Mhm.
boat.
Yeah.
So they may not say everything that's on their mind.
Mm.
But the Aries energy is like, I'm going to rock the boat. We're going to capsize until you see me. Until you see me. So
Know my name.
and then you find all your stuff out on the street.
Hey, you come over. It's being tossed out a window.
Yeah. So that's the energy that we've been going in, like leaving that energy of pacifying Libra, going towards the like asserting yourself Aries, right? And in September, there will be a kiss of a Pisces full moon eclipse. And that'll be on September 17th.
Ooh, so it's coming up.
It's coming up. It's a partial lunar eclipse. Now, the thing about eclipses is that they have a wake, right? Like when they happen, the effect is up until the next eclipse. So it's like a 6-month window. So the eclipse we just had and Libra
started to
and
dissipate.
and Aries is starting to wither away, and now the energy of Pisces is coming up. Right? And with the lunar eclipse, right? The moon is all about the emotional body and how you think and feel. And Piscean energy with Saturn and Neptune sitting in Pisces this year is asking us to understand like what is our emotional boundaries?
Yes.
What do we need to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel understood, to feel content, right? And have peace, right? What do we need energetically in our boundaries? And then it's going to start throwing examples your way of like, is this disrupting your peace? Is this still considered peaceful for you while I throw this at you? You know, but it's going to be all about the emotional body. So I highly encourage everyone who is listening to this channel over the next 6 months, because the eclipse cycle will shift next year into Pisces and Virgo, where the energy will leave Virgo, the energy of giving to other people to like support the abundance of everybody, and like the practical rational mind, and it's going to go to the dream, like the rose-colored glasses, but it's got Saturn sitting in Pisces as well. Saturn, the restrictor. So in those rose-colored lenses of your emotional body, right? Pay attention to, oh yeah, this is really great. I really enjoy this, but why did I feel so icky with that conversation? Like, why am I feeling unsettled with that one conversation that I had with that one individual? But everything else is like sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, but that one part.
But that one part, like, why is it sticking? And why can't I let it go? Pisces is like, gets hung up on emotions. So like, in the eclipse cycle with Pisces, pay attention to the emotions that arise that you can't let go of. Because that'll be your biggest indicator of like something in an energetic boundary in your emotional body that needs to be reassessed.
Everybody write that down.
Now, I know, and I say this because the universe is going to throw us lots of examples. Lots. One is that eclipse cycle with Saturn, like eclipse in Pisces and Virgo and Saturn. Two, the dynamic of Jupiter and Saturn fighting each other, Gemini and Pisces, all year long. So we're going to see it come up in the workplace, in the government, in our communities, where there's just disagreement, there's discord, there's contention, there's fighting. We need to do it this way. No, we need to do it that way. And then like, oh, fuck you. Like all these like disagreements. And then there's a third element. The third element is Mars. Now, normally I don't talk about the smaller inner planets as much, just because they move so fast that the energy is usually pretty short-lived. But Mars is going to go into Cancer starting on Wednesday, the 4th of September. It'll sit there for a couple months, and then it'll go into Leo. Then right before the end of the year, like I think late November, early December, it'll retrograde in Leo, and it'll go back into Cancer. Mars does not like being in Cancer. Mars is honored in Capricorn, the opposite sign of Cancer, and it is weakened in its fall in Cancer. And so that fiery energy of Mars, that divine masculine energy, that energy of the go-getter that wants to kickstart everything. It wants to achieve a goal and doesn't want to be stopped by obstacles. in watery, emotional, sensitive
Good Lord.
Cancer.
Yeah, that's
It's
gonna be
be
a
for
wild
like
ride.
3 months from like November through February. That is like, I just warn people to take a breath, like remember your breath,
Mhm.
like when you're engaging with people. And if something emotionally is upsetting for you, or you witness someone do something that's emotionally perceived toxic, right? Like, take a step back and just breathe and, like, witness really what is going on here. Like, what is actually going on versus the reaction.
Reactionary results.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that energy of people being reactive
Ooh, boy.
in the end of the year. And so don't let yourself get drowned in that energy, right? Because it'll be very easy to get taken away with that, spirited away with reactiveness.
Love that movie. Shouts out Studio Ghibli.
So I recommend people to breathe and really reassess before addressing emotional conflicts that may arise.
Okay. It's a good one. So end of the year?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are some positive things? Those are all the ones that I was worried about.
Well, I think those are great ways. I mean, in those,
Yeah.
because we don't really like to talk about transmuting those.
Right.
That gives you the opportunity of what am I actively working on to release inside so I can attain
Right.
peace
Exactly.
in that time period.
Like, why is this
Why
disturbing
is this
me?
really disturbing me? Yeah.
Yeah.
And how can I better handle this internally moving forward?
Yeah.
So when it arises again, or if you witness something,
I'd be like, oh, hello again.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like you're not that you're okay with it and you're accepting of it, but you know,
Just understand it better.
yeah,
You have a
in yourself.
relationship with it.
So you don't become that reactionary. You don't become part of that chain reaction. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is what I gotta do in this
This
situation.
is my alter ego.
Starts coming out.
Some really positive things. In the year ahead, there is going to be some really sweet energy with the Pisces and Virgo eclipse cycle in March of next year. March and April, there's going to be some really great alignments. And then, so Jupiter will shift into Cancer in June 2025. And that is when a lot of this contentious energy will start to really subside. Jupiter is honored in Cancer. It's the honorary
that'll
guest.
be good.
So it's going to be a
That'll be a good
very, really great year for everybody. After the summer of 2025 onwards, it's going to be wonderful.
Okay, so we just gotta make
Yeah,
it
that's
through the
interesting.
next
We got
like
some
9 months or
Universal
so.
trials over the next 6 months or so, 7-8 months. Yeah.
Yeah, right into election season.
Yes, just in time.
Fantastic.
Just in time. It's not like that's planned or anything.
yeah.
Like
Oh, my goodness.
who said
This
we
is
had to
gonna
make
be-
elections every 4 years?
Yeah, why is that a thing?
Yeah.
Well, and then also,
It
why?
Just so
Okay.
happens to be when Jupiter and Saturn fight every 4 years.
Every 4 years.
It's fine. Like, that's fine. In their cyclical pattern, it's fine.
Oh, I've never thought about that like that.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Well, like,
That's
if you think about it, I mean, would you say,
That's crazy.
just as a very hypothetical,
Yeah.
that like the Republican Party and Democratic Party, would you say one's more restrictive and one's more like free being?
Oh, I think they're both restrictive.
Oh, 100. Okay. I don't know. I
think-
was I was just, it was
I
like
think
a whole
they're both
hypothetical.
very exclusive and very.
We need an independent to win.
I don't think the current system of government that we have. Oh my god,
Whatever.
that sounds very anarchist. Oh my god, I'm gonna stop.
Keep going. Keep going.
No.
Oh, we gotta unplug all the Google Homes.
I don't. I think that we don't know what the best form is for our society. Is what I believe.
Okay.
I don't think we've seen it yet.
I think it's coming.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
I'd like to be a part of it.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's a great place to end, actually. I love that.
Love that.
Thanks for coming on again, Matthew.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew.
We're gonna bring you on again, because obviously throughout this we came up with like 4 different episodes that we
I
could
know,
probably
seriously.
do. So I want to appreciate all y'all for tuning in here to Soully Living Podcast. It's going to take me a bit because I keep wanting to say Swim with Sepsi, but
Soully Living.
Check us out here. Matthew, where can they find you, first off? If you would like to, let them know.
Currently nowhere.
Currently nowhere.
Currently, I live at...
Send me a letter.
Postcard.
Pony Express. I gotta get a post office box.
Well, I don't want to put you on blast, but do you offer like astrology readings still? Are you still doing that? Or what?
Right now, I
This is
just do it.
exclusive. He's got a club.
My club. No, I do offer readings. I usually just do it by word of mouth right now.
Ooh, I like that. All right,
Just
do you hear this?
The underground. I'm on the
Yeah,
underground.
I like that.
Hit us up. Hit us up.
So,
Yeah. Cool.
So,
We'll leave it there.
yeah.
Well, let's do it.
So like, share, and subscribe. Soully Living.
Yes.
Hit that
Soully
little
Living
like
Podcast.
button.
Push that button. Follow us. Hit us on Instagram. Leave some comments. We've had some beautiful comments lately, and I love hearing that and just hearing what's resonating with you, and having a conversation. How we can help. Yeah. Much love.
Much
We'll
love.
catch you next
Thank
time.
you.
thank you.
Peace.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Swimming with Sepsi. If this resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and follow us on our YouTube channel, or listen on all platforms or wherever you get your podcasts. Any support is greatly appreciated. You can find us on our Patreon page at patreon.com/swimmingwithsepsi. You can also follow us on Instagram at swimmingwithsepsi. And if something did arise today, maybe you need some clarification or want some help or just need some guidance and don't know where to go, feel free to reach out to me via email, swimmingwithsepsi@gmail.com, or you can find my website at soullyliving.com, where I offer coaching packages, readings, and things of that nature. Again, thank you for tuning in. Very grateful. Namaste. And we'll find you on the next episode of Swimming with Sepsi.